That's why today, when you find people praying, everybody will be praying in the congregation like this. But the moment you give somebody the microphone to lead the prayer, suddenly the spirit of prayer comes on him. When they carry the mic, see, when you finish your gymnastics, I know you did aquatic habitat, come back to earth and pray. The king of Zion is waiting for you. They come to church and they intimidate ladies with tongues. Tiko, Pakule, Divagaga. If the tongues is not working, they will now come with a vision and say, I was on the 90 days dry fast. The moment they say dry fast, the lady will now come under submission of God. If somebody is on 90 days fast, what did the Lord say? He said, an angel came and opened the scroll. And he showed me about Russia. He talked to me about China. The last thing the angel told me was that your face appeared. And when I consulted with God, I knew you were my wife. But don't worry, go and pray about it. And he will walk out like a spiritual man and put the lady under psychological pressure. It's fake. The Bible says two can only work together if they be agreed. If God showed him, God should show you too. What if I didn't hear God? By now you'd have heard that a pastor slapped his wife. And then they'll put my picture on social media. When I'm doing like this, they will now say, we said it, this anger, there's anger here. Some men are hunters. And our sisters now are aware, so they avoid them. They come to church and they intimidate ladies with tongues. Tiko, Pakule, Divagaga. If the tongues is not working, they will now come with a vision and say, I was on the 90 days dry fast. The moment they say dry fast, the lady will now come under submission of God. If somebody is on 90 days fast, what did the Lord say? He said, an angel came and opened the scroll. And he showed me about Russia. He talked to me about China. The last thing the angel told me was that your face appeared. And when I consulted with God, I knew you were my wife. But don't worry, go and pray about it. And he will walk out like a spiritual man and put the lady under psychological pressure. It's fake. The Bible says two can only work together if they be agreed. If God showed him, God should show you too. That's why today, when you find people praying, everybody will be praying in the congregation like this. But the moment you give somebody the microphone to lead the prayer, suddenly the spirit of prayer comes on him. Because this one will be recorded on Facebook. The moment he drops the prayer, the microphone, he will go back to status quo and begin to stroll around. That's hypocrisy. You will do that for 10 years. God will be waiting for the day you want to pray. Because what you are doing is not prayer, it's showbiz. When they carry the mic, see, when you finish your gymnastics, I know you did aquatic habitat, come back to earth and pray. The king of Zion is waiting for you. In service, God will prove your intentions. They say go for evangelism, you find 10 people. 10. But when you say give a charge, everybody is on suit. They want to give a charge for 5 minutes in the conference. And then they are quoting scriptures. They are quoting scriptures. Malachi 3:1, Matthew 4:12. They are quoting scriptures. Because of the momentum of the conference. But when you say let's go to the street for evangelism, you won't find anybody. So God will know that you are not interested in soul winning and soul establishment. You are interested in the showbiz of altar, of preaching on the altar. So you will give charge for 60 years. You will give charge for 60 years. The people that came to church yesterday, God will send them to the nations. You will still be giving charge. Because you are not interested in souls. And if you are not interested in souls, what is the point sending you? So in service, God will check your motive. He will check you. Because there's no way he can go into your heart except as you start serving. You came, you say, Lord, I love you. They say, okay, this week, mop the floor. Mop the floor. I am a prophetess. Mop the floor. I can't. Where are the ushers? You are the first usher. Ushers are not the people that stand on the door. The preacher also is an usher. All of us are ushers in different departments. And so you can finish laying hands on the sick, and there is a need to wash the toilet. There's nobody who is qualified to wash the toilet. Because you are not worshiping the toilet as a cleaner. You are worshiping the toilet as a servant of God. I was so humbled while we were coming. There was a traffic at the junction before we entered. Before I said Jack, Daddy jumped out of the car. I said, wait, sir. Is there no protocol here? Wait. He didn't hear what I was saying. He forgot that he was the general overseer. He ran down from the car, went and corrected it. You are the senior pastor. I wanted to lower my voice and say, you are the senior pastor, sir. Can't we get somebody? He doesn't remember. And then tomorrow you too, you say you want to be father of the land. Your wilderness journey is far. It's very far. This kind of person can come to church. If there's nobody, he will sweep. He will start sweeping until others come. Meanwhile, our prophets today, when you come to church, you will sit down and cross your leg like this. That's why you will not have rating in Zion. Because you are a superstar, you are not a servant. And God is not looking for superstars. In the kingdom, there is one star. His name is Jesus. Every other person is a servant. And so if you can preach and prophesy, you should also be able to sweep. If you can be protocoled, you should also be able to protocol. Because there's no leadership without service. It takes servanthood to become a leader. And so the way God checks, when you see God doing things with people, don't be quick to start comparing yourself. You will kill yourself. You don't know what God is seeing. That lady is singing. People are crying, falling under the anointing. You think it's about a good voice. Go and sing the same song. And see the way the angels will withdraw themselves as if you are a rebel. Have you not seen it before? Somebody is singing a song, people are crying, and then suddenly their eyes are closed, they are crying. Another person collects the mic and starts singing the song, and the energy goes down. The angels that were responding when one was singing quickly withdraw themselves. And then the people that were crying suddenly start feeling tired. They sit down and they start watching you. You are singing the same song with a better voice, but the angels don't hear your voice. They hear the incense of service that rises from your heart. This is not showbiz. This is the altar of God, and there are parameters that He weighs. I was an orator many years ago. Those days, when they are organizing programs, I am the MC. If I do introduction, you will laugh. You will laugh until you will start crying. You will laugh. They carry me from any ministry program. I come with my bow tie and start the work of MC. And I did that work up until 2017. When I think I've arrived, God will move me from one place to another. I will go and start from the beginning. When I think I've arrived, God will take me. When I was serving in a church, before I went to the last apostolic center where I served, I was the teacher at foundation school. We had pioneer churches. I pioneered churches in 3 different states in Nigeria. I pioneered the church in Kano. I pioneered the cell in Bukavu Barracks in Kano. I left there, I went to Warri. I pioneered the cell in the Furum Barracks. I returned to Makodi. I pioneered the church in New GRA Makodi. They now gave instruction from headquarters that every leader should go back to foundation school. The people I taught and imparted with the Holy Spirit, we sat together. When we now graduated, the senior pastor in charge of our branch now forgot to submit my record. On the graduation day, people came from the government house to attend because I was already going from place to place, giving prophetic words and praying for people. When they showed up to see me receive all the awards, because I was cerebral, They didn't submit my record. Meanwhile, we were all wearing academic gown. They put us in front. When they finished calling all the awards, I didn't take one. I started sweating from every part of my face. What is the meaning of this? I didn't know it was as if the sweat could fill a container. It was coming like a river, sweat. I tried to clean it. As I'm cleaning, another one comes out. What is happening here? They now called everybody and gave them certificate. They didn't come. When the service was over, if you touch my chest, the heat from my heart will burn your finger. I wanted to rake. God now say, empty all the money in your pocket as a seed to the pastor. That was when tears came down. Because I was ready to fight. Say, empty your money as a seed quickly. The whole anger converted to tears. And the tears came down. Until date. That was it. That was when God taught me that it was not about awards, it was about reward. Men give awards, God gives rewards. You can take awards and go to hell. You won't let those ones are not in the Bible school, because it tore my heart into two. It was a chisel on my soul. And I can keep giving you these things again and again and again. And so when God promotes a man, you can come and sit down. You say, is it because he has revelation? Or is it because the healing anointing? You are in error. The age of a man is tied to light, where he travels to. And the authority of a man is tied to his obedience. The approval of a man is tied to his service. If you don't know these three things, you will never understand what rank in Zion means. A man's age is tied to light, because light is the dwelling of God. When a man finds light, he becomes ancient. A man's authority is tied to his obedience, because when your obedience is complete, you avenge all disobedience. And a man's approval with God is tied to his service. He said Moses is faithful in all of the house of God. All of these three things, you will learn it in service. That's why you find gifted men, they bring reproach to God. There's no aroma of Christ from them. They've never served. And I'm not talking about human worship, where people are mutilated, undermined, bastardized. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking service in accordance with the position of Scripture. Service with the fear of the Lord, both from the leader and from the servant. When you find such, give your all, because that's the basis for your promotion. Many sisters now are afraid of marrying because we don't have gardeners, we have hunters. They check all the sisters, the ones that have prospect. They discover she dresses well, she speaks good English, she's responsible, and it looks as if she has some money. They will now begin to give prophetic word or encourage her. When they are head of department, they will give her opportunity. Lead the choir for 2 weeks. Even if you lead for 1 year, it doesn't mean he's your husband. Are we together? Only a gardener has the capacity to marry. And when you find a gardener, he has the capacity to develop the woman spiritually. He has the capacity to develop the woman socially. He has the capacity to develop the woman financially. And he also has the capacity to develop the woman emotionally. If a woman marries a gardener, her spiritual, emotional, financial, and social insecurities are handled. Because a woman is looking for somebody who will take over from her father. And that was the job the father was doing. And so when you find boys who have come of age but are not mature, they are looking for women that they will take advantage of. And so you are not a husband because you are an adult male. Nowadays, in order to increase for men to increase their prospect, they go to a gym and they gym their chest. Chest is like this. They wear suit and put the collar. The chest, if you like your chest to be longer than your face, it doesn't make you a husband. You must have capacity in the spirit, because the man will have to find the presence of God. That's where the woman is cultivated. If he doesn't know how to journey to the presence, he will not have the equipments, the tools to cultivate the woman. Because Paul was speaking in Ephesians 5:30. He said marriage is a great mystery. And so what you need in order to unravel the mysteries of marriage are in the presence of God. And so if you don't have spiritual capacity, you are not a husband. If you are somebody who every little thing throws you off, you are still a little boy with a big age. You need to grow in God. So stop troubling God with your age. Your age is not what they are checking for now. Are you a husband? Why a wife is a wife before she's married, a husband becomes a husband after marriage. The job of the wife is to submit. So she needs to learn it before she enters. And the job of the husband is to cultivate. So when she gets married, he enters his primary assignment. If you study, you know what that kind of love is? It's a love that dies. This kind of love is self-denial, a sacrifice. And so you came to the room, your wife looked at you in the face, and what you would have done is to slap her and say, go to your father's house. You now discover that emotion was not part of the bargain. You will die. That's why I say this kind of love, you love by dying. You don't love by feeling. The way Christ loved the church was that he died. And so when your wife does what is wrong, that you should have advanced your masculinity. Because one slap will silence her for 5 seconds. At least before she thinks again, her brain will reboot. You'll take your hand like this. You now remember, you don't die slapping. You will now die. You will now come back in the midnight when everybody is asleep and sit your wife down and say, you know, that thing you said is not how. Your pride will be coming like this. Your pride. You shouldn't have said like that. Then she'll say, what do you mean by that? Why would you tell me how to talk? Are you the one that gave me mouth? You will die. My brother calls it the nails of Calvary. The nails. You will die. You thought that after 7 hours, now she would have become reasonable. You will now discover her brain is not in her head. The brain of the woman is not in her head. It's in her heart. And so you will succor her. You will succor her. When she now comes down, you will discover that 90% of what she said, she didn't mean it. When she said, you are a demon, she didn't mean it. She's trying to provoke anger in you. She wants anger to come out of you. And because you die in loving, even if the anger rises, you will hold your peace. You will look at her. Huh? When you refuse to talk and enter your room, all the work she was doing at the backyard, she will bring it to your room and start doing there. You will look. To make this work, sometimes when you want to go out, you will now close the door. You will now understand the difference between love before marriage and love after marriage. Love before marriage is feelings. Love after marriage is death. It's commandment. So the man dies to love. But our generation is not taught. So they tell people, do you love him? He say yes. Do you love her? It's Nollywood. That one is the doctrine of Nollywood. It's Bollywood 101. You saw them. They escaped from home and went to an island. That movie is for 2 hours. Welcome to reality. Life is for many years. You want to carry the script of somebody who was drinking Chamdor, or was drinking Chamdor is a fruit one. Somebody that was drinking champagne or drinking whiskey, and when he was drinking whiskey, he got inspiration and wrote something. You now bring it to live your life. I love her, and that's her. As we are talking, you are now thinking of Shah Rukh Khan. The way he carried his bride and they drove through a wilderness. That is 2 hours movie. Come to life. You don't marry who you love. You love who you marry. And because you love who you marry, you can't jump into it. So when emotions rise, you will tell your emotions to calm down. And you will find out how God selects women for men. And how God selects husbands. One of the ladies that they advised me to marry, she died last year. It pains me so much that she was cut short. It pains me. I'm not saying this as a testimony. Because you can't be testifying when somebody else is hot. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, what if I married that person? By August, I would have married in May. By August, I would have been a widow. Or a widower. They call it widower. Meanwhile, God is planning for me to start Encounter Jesus in November. If I became a widow in August, how would I have heard about this? In 3 months, see where we are. All of these possibilities would have sunk. Just because I didn't hear God. Meanwhile, the one I wanted to marry, or the one I'm married to now. Hear God, though. A lady told me in Brazil she will relocate to Nigeria. They say she loved mission. She loved mission. And when I check, she's a Brazilian. If I give birth, my son will be Nigerian and Brazilian. This thing happening in Nigeria now that we are still prophesying and praying. If I marry a Brazilian, at least if things happen while we are trusting God, there will be some way of safety. They say, oh, Brazilians, they love Nigerians. This is an she loved mission. Everything was arranged. They showed me pictures. She was like a goddess. I went home. I did like this. You don't know what we are saying. What I'm talking about here is not religion. I'm telling you how men succeed in life. The other one told me she's a partner. Before you know, my phone will shake like this. Alert has entered. I said, these are the kind of women that support ministry. No. You don't joke with it. Meanwhile, this my wife never gave a seed. One day I stood up, I said, hope I'm not about to make a mistake. Are you sure this lady believes in this calling? I said, are you sure this lady believes in this calling? Let me not come and marry somebody that tomorrow, even if I'm going for meetings, problem. Are you sure she believes in this calling? And I went and sat down, and the demon whispered to my ear. Say, don't worry. She thinks she's a big woman. She thinks she's a big woman. Just ignore her. She's not serious. So when I looked at her and I said, okay, these are the feminists. They think they are important. Because, she has a master's degree. She is working as a head of sustainability in one of the leading companies in Nigeria. She has done senior managerial courses in Harvard, in Lagos Business School. So it's natural for you to look at her and say, this person is proud. And I looked at her and I said, there's pride here. There's pride. I began to interpret things by wisdom. I said, this lady is not submissive. Before I knew what was happening, 5 people came and said, hey, is it this person? Run for your life. Thank God I hear God. The last 1 year of my life is the best I've ever lived. I've not recorded, hear this, I've not recorded as much success as I've recorded in the last 1 year. Meanwhile, I have rest. See, when I'm oh Jesus, hear God. If you know what they call peace, I sleep and I roll from one side of the bed to another. Because what you need to explain to some people, you don't need to explain to her. She's mature enough to know, even before you say. I'm not trying, this is not social media hype. I'm not trying to hype her. I've never had a reason to come and explain, say, this is like this. She knows. And the things that should be a problem, before I think it, she works it out. And she doesn't even want me to say thank you. What if I heard men and very important people stood against this? Very important people said, don't try it. Do you know Edo ladies? I thought you were exposed. Have you not heard about people from Edo? They brought all kinds of argument. But when I go to the place of prayer, sometimes I make up my mind that this thing is over. As I go there, the oracle will appear. They say you are about to sell off your destiny. I have seen you have weighed your future. This is the person that can bear the weight of your calling. And from the week we got married, we went to Meduguri. I was thinking, okay, I will persuade her. She's more interested. When I travel, sometimes I forget to call. Because I come back, I'm so tired. She will send me a message and say, the Lord refresh you and strengthen you. I'm praying for you. Oh, I will now feel guilty. Imagine the stress we go through. I will now come home and say, I'm sorry, I have another meeting next week. Should I go? And then I'm ready to go for a meeting. She'll stand up and say, you won't go. And then I'll call my host and say, I'm sorry, my wife said I shouldn't go. She stands up and says, he's sold out. He belongs to Jesus. Go. Everything people suspected was a lie. They misinterpreted her. What if I didn't hear God? By now you'd have heard that a pastor slapped his wife. And then they'll put my picture on social media. When I'm doing like this, they will now say, we said it, this anger, there's anger here.